What is up, everybody? Welcome back. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season and that you got to spend all of the time that you could with friends and family. Hopefully you didn't eat too much and have a New Year's resolution of losing weight, because I certainly ate too much over the holiday season. But with that being said, we're going to dive in today to the video with something really simple but should be important and at the top of your list, and that is your rifle setup when it comes to bug out situations and stuff hitting the fan situations. I'm going to do a basic overview of what my rifle is, the cost, and how much went into it. And then we're going to kind of talk about why I have the attachments that I have and why I think you should kind of follow the same setup. You don't have to listen to me by any stretch of the imagination. You can tell me to screw off. You can tell me in the comments that what I'm doing is wrong with my rifle, but to each their own. What works for me in these scenarios and what works for me carrying gear-wise may not work for you. So always remember that everybody's going to have something completely different. We're going to go ahead and get into it. So for attachment-wise, everything is from Magpul because they're honestly the best bang for your buck on what you're getting. I got a sling from them, angled foregrip, and a bipod. And then, of course, this is a Sig Sauer M400 rifle, 5.56 chambered. Came with a flash suppressor on it. And then I got the scope from Osprey Scopes. Honestly, one of the best brands of scopes that I've encountered. That's not a sponsorship. That's just how I feel. I've shot with it many a times now for $200 on the scope. It's hard to beat for what I got. Price point though, the rifle itself was about $1,000, and then the bipod, angled foregrip, and the sling right around $150 because I used coupons and I looked for when things were on sale on their website to be able to get the most amount for what I was wanting to spend. And then the scope was $200, so right around $1,400 for a complete rifle setup. And I do wholeheartedly believe that Sig is one of the better rifles out there on the market. There's probably plenty of other people that are going to disagree with me, but for the amount of money that I spent on it, it's one of the best rifles I've ever had, and I will stand by that. But that's just my opinion. So when you look at my rifle and you see that I have a bipod, an angled foregrip, and a 1x4 scope on it, you might be thinking to yourself, that is completely unnecessary, John. What are you doing, and why do you have so much weight on your rifle? And the simple answer is, I am moving alone. I am not moving with a group of people in these situations. I'm most likely moving by myself, maybe with one or two other people. And with understanding that, let's break down why I'm moving by myself or moving with 1 to 2 very trusted people that I know I could rely on if I absolutely needed them. In the event that something happens where society collapses, whether it be foreign invasion, your own government turning against you, economic collapse where the dollar fails, not just the US dollar, you could be in Britain and the pound fail, or in Asia and the yen fail, so on and so forth. Any one of those situations where now you have to rely on the tools and skills that you have to be able to provide not only for yourself, but if you have a family, you got to provide for them as well. It becomes a very different situation because now resources are finite. And of course, resources are always finite, but there's an unspoken rule and guarantee that there's going to be at least something there for everybody. But now there's no guarantee. So now people are going to group up and clump up. You know, families, especially if you have a large family, you're going to try to gather all of your family together. Guys that work together, police departments, sheriff's departments, whatever line of work you're in, your guys are going to try to get together, band together, and have your own little safe and secure community. that's all well and good, and that's probably something that you want to lean towards, but there's a wrench in that plan that a lot of people, if you know it, people don't talk about it. And that's the danger in what I'm about to talk with you about, is that people aren't talking about this danger that comes with this, is the depravity of man in these situations. Because when resources start running out and resources are scarce, especially with a population like in America, where 90% of the people in America do not know how to grow their own food, do not know how to hunt for their own food, or provide for themselves the basic necessities, those people are very dangerous, because they are going to do whatever they have to do to go obtain those resources. And you're thinking to yourself, John, what? Nobody's going to do that. What about basic human decency? All that is out the window. That is gone. The only person that you can truly rely on in these situations is yourself. Maybe a couple family members, but we're gonna go over a quick scenario. You have your group of people, and then a couple miles down the road, you have another group of people. Y'all have been fairly courteous so far. You respect boundaries. You're not going in and scavenging in the houses that are in their territory. They're not coming over into your territory. But now you're a couple years into this, or maybe you're even a couple of months into this, and resources are already scarce. Maybe the harvest that you're trying to do, or their harvest that they're trying to do, isn't really going well. Crops are dying. Maybe the livestock that they were able to secure is running out. Now that resources are getting scarce, people are going to start looking at each other like, well, what do they have that we don't have? Well, that's a bunch of old people over there. I'm certain we could go take what they have. Or there's only one guy over there, and there's a bunch of children and women. We could certainly take what they have. That's how you have to start viewing what other people are thinking. Because if you're not, they are going to steamroll you when they do decide to come take your stuff. And so, for example, you have somebody in your group, maybe he or she doesn't like the way that you handled a situation, or somebody else in the group pissed them off, so they leave and go to the other group. And now that other group has all of your information. They know your patrols, they know where you're going, they know what time you're going, they know how many people are in there, what weapons you have, how many people there actually are, who's in fighting condition, who's not. There's a lot of situations that could happen from that. And that person could have either given it to him willingly, or he or she could have been tortured for it. And yes, torture is a thing that people do not talk about. And it's not going to be the psychological torture that you see on the news where, oh, we're going to waterboard you, or play loud music and use flashing lights to scare you. People are going to get hurt. Taking a baseball bat to the kneecaps, situations like that. Things like that could very well happen, and now you're exposed. So my rifle is set up for me to move alone and as quickly as possible, and not to engage enemies very closely. I'm engaging an enemy from 500 yards away, all the way up to maybe 700 yards. I'll have to drop a shot in, but from 300 to 500 yards with this setup, I'm not engaging a full enemy by any means necessary. The goal for my setup is to disengage and move as far away as quickly as possible. Yes, is it retreating? Yes. Are other people and people in the comments going to say that, oh, well, John, I'm not going to retreat. I'm just going to sit there and fight it out. Okay, Rambo, you got two other guys against maybe 12 to 15 people. Maybe you're the better shot, but at a certain point, superior numbers becomes a thing. And you're going to run out of ammo long before those 15 people are. Unless you're hitting headshots every time like you're John Wick. Your objective in that situation is to disengage as quickly as possible. And if you have a rifle like I do, where I can pick up and move and then go to a supported position to be able to hit those nice clean shots and then pick up and move again, you're probably not going to have a good time, and you're probably not going to make it out of that situation in one piece. So 1x4 scope gets you pretty good distance on it, and all I have to do is a simple turn of the knob to get what I want. Everybody talks about, well, the flip down red dots that they have with the magnification work really well. That's good and all, but that limits you, because now you're stuck in a 200-yard range, and even then, it's not versatile. Those flip down magnetic, the red dot sights, how are you going to use it for hunting? No, because you're not going to get close enough to a deer to be able to use that type of sight. With this sight, I'm hitting a deer and bringing home food. Now I'm engaging the enemy. Flip up my little plastic cover to be able to see more clearly, and the only reason I kept the front plastic cover on my scope is now that plastic cover stops anybody in an opposite position from seeing the reflective light off of my lens. And that kind of, and then we go a step further. Let's talk about the angled foregrip. You're not holding it all the way down here. You are coming on the side and holding it right there. If you have just a regular straight foregrip, most people hold it like this. You should be putting your hand in front of it, your thumb on top of the rifle. Same concept with an angled foregrip. But with the bipod is the most important thing, because now I can go to a supported position without having to worry about finding a sandbag or something else to support my rifle to be able to hit those longer shots. Now I have my own support system. And all in all, if we were to load a full mag in here, maybe 6-7 pounds. It's not really that heavy. With the sling to help sit the weight on it as well, it's not really that heavy. So this rifle is built for the sole purpose of moving and disengaging as quickly as possible while being able to provide a stable hunting rifle at the same time. Everybody can always argue, well, John, with a 5.56 rifle, you're not going to be taking down a deer. This is where training comes into place, because if you know where to hit a deer at, 5.56 rifle can easily take out a deer. And everybody's in the comments going to say, well, you've never done it before, and so on and so forth. I've done it a couple of times. Do I like using bolt action, heavier caliber rifles to take down a deer? Absolutely. But for convenience sake, this is the type of rifle that you want to be using in those situations of having to bug out or when stuff hits the fan, because you never know what you're going to run into. And that's just kind of how it should go. And again, I reiterate, you're not going to be moving with 5 or 6 people. Maybe at first when things look pretty easy on how you're going to sustain yourselves, you could do it. But for the rest of the time, when supplies get scarce and you have a hard harvest, things are going to look a whole lot different. So keep all that in mind, and be open to the idea of changing on some things. When I started out over 10 years ago in this industry, and as I've learned and I've grown, I've changed a lot of my stances on how things should be or how things should look. And you should have the same open mind concept on it, because it's not going to be the easiest thing to do on that. You could think to yourself, oh, well, I know what I'm talking about because I have all this experience, or this has been working for me the same way. We can sit here and talk about it all day long until we're blue in the face, until we're screaming at each other about this plan's going to work or this plan's going to work. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. The plans that you set in motion sound really good on paper, and maybe in the training that you're doing, the execution's going really well. And then you encounter the real enemy, and everything goes completely opposite of what you think it should. So keep that in mind, that you might need to be open to change on that. But on a lighter note, we're going to kind of end the video here, but be looking forward to the next couple of videos, because we're going to get the whole setup about, we already did the rifle. We're going to look at what your plate carrier and your bag should look like. Because again, the idea about all of this and the whole theme of all of this, and the first part is going to be mobility. Because 9 times out of 10 in these situations, you're by yourself. So you do not want to be dragging around 100 to 200 pounds worth of worthless gear. You need the most bare essentials to make you as light and as quick as possible. Because if you have to leave from your home, you're not taking everything with you. As unfortunate as that is, and do I have some valuable things that I wouldn't want to leave behind? Absolutely. But in the long run, I value my life more. So I hope everybody continues to have a wonderful week. Be looking forward to the next video. The schedule is going to be a lot more consistent with videos coming up in the new year, and I hope to talk to you guys soon. I should be able, one of the things that's in the works right now is being able to set up a booth and attend gun shows, at least here in Eastern North Carolina. And hopefully next year being able to attend SHOT Show to show you guys what is happening, not just in the gun industry and the tactical industry, but how that can transfer over into all of the bug out and the stuff hitting the fan situations. So be looking forward to that, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.